This study came about as we wanted to better understand students' subjective experience and sense of belonging at Trent Durham. We wanted to find out student experiences of fitting in and being cared for by the institution, identity factors of university life that contribute to or hinder students' sense of belonging to Trent Durham, and examine students' desired changes. Welcome to Trent Durham S.O.B Stories.
Hey all, my name is Natalie and I am your host for this episode of S.O.B Stories. Our next guest goes by the name of Tori. I am interviewing Tori to discuss mental health as October 6th to 12th is Mental Health Awareness Week. Hey Tori.
Hey. Tell us about yourself.
So I identify as a white, queer, low-income student. I'm entering the 4th year of my second degree here at Trent Durham.
2 degrees. That's quite an accomplishment. What led you into taking a second degree?
I decided to go back to school largely because I feel like I stumbled through my first degree. When I first came to Trent University, I was motivated mostly by my survival. I was leaving an abusive household and, trying to juggle those very real, very pressing issues on top of, I guess, more typical aspects of the undergraduate experience. Finding my passions, developing my professional skills, trying to live on my own in a new city, trying to make new friends, all of this kind of compounded, and it was really hard for me to integrate as I would have liked to.
It sounds like you've come a very long way. How do you find your experience compares from your first program to your second program?
It's like night and day, honestly. My first degree, I struggled a lot with, I guess, as I said earlier, coping with everything that was going on. And the first year was really hard in particular because I didn't feel comfortable enough to reach out to anyone, not even, established supports that we had on the campus. And so I sort of floated through my first year, didn't really go to class, isolated myself, and it resulted in me losing my scholarship, but also I was suspended after my first year. And it was being suspended and deciding to, appeal it, get back in so I can actually take my second year on time and take a reduced course load. That sort of enabled me to at least start to try and juggle the demands of academia on top of the demands of trying to, heal and discover myself. And so through that process, actually, in my second year, I began developing a relationship with campus resources. Counseling services as well as accessibility services were really helpful, and they really helped to enrich my experience just to finish that first degree. I ended up taking 5 years to finish a 4-year degree, but I was sort of able to spin what was a really horrific experience at the beginning into something that I could live with. And by the time I decided that, I just wanted to get out of here and finish school, I knew that I was basically halfway through a degree that I wasn't passionate about, and that I would return to school again when I was, actually motivated to for myself, not motivated by fear, not motivated by survival, but coming back on my own terms, and for a program that I was in love with. And so now I'm here, and it's been really awesome, really. It's crazy to think about my experience during that first degree to who I am as a student now and how I see myself in my role as a student here on campus.
Wow. The difficult experience you had along with your healing journey made you a really resilient and resourceful person. It seems like you're having a much better academic experience this time around. Can you tell me how this has translated to your sense of belonging?
I think that by establishing a relationship with the supports that were available to me on campus. It allowed me to sort of, again, like heal, but explore myself, explore, potential avenues for my learning, potential avenues for the person that I wanted to be. And by doing that self-work and being supported in that self-work, it's really made a difference. Once I was sort of able to lift myself out of that fog of depression, I returned to school for my second degree, and I actually, took the initiative to try new things. I continued, leaning on the supports of counseling services and accessibility services, but I also reached out to different supports. I felt like I could reach out to, my professors. I felt like I could reach out to peers in certain circumstances, and, I was sort of able to just become more comfortable just being apart, physically, and going through the routine of being on the campus. I think a big difference too is the healing I did outside of school. So when I finished my first degree and before I came back, I was sort of able to, build that support network that I was lacking the first time around, and sort of come to terms with, it's not the conventional type of support as some students have when they have their family members, but I had developed some really meaningful relationships with peers that I brought in to my second degree experience, and because of that, I feel like I've really grown as a leader and as a person.
That's an amazing journey. Thank you for being so open and sharing that with us. What advice would you have for students who are possibly struggling with mental health, or someone who is even in a similar circumstance that you were in your first degree?
I think, the transition into university and also just managing the demands of university, things get tough, and I think I want to say to everyone really that there are supports out there. Here on our campus, I've been thankful for the relationships I've had with people within Trent Counseling and Trent Accessibility Services, but I also encourage people to look outside to the greater community. There's so much out there, and there are people who care, and I just want everyone to know that.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, take care of yourselves this Mental Health Week.
This has been S.O.B Stories. If Tori's sense of belonging spoke to you, check out Trent's resources at trentu.ca/wellness, or check out student accessibility services across from room 110. Check out other on-campus events from the weekly What's Happening newsletter sent to your Trent email. Follow us on Instagram at Trent Durham Sobs, or email us at our new email, belonging@mytdsa.ca. Our next episode will be out November 20th when we talk with Nathan about the trans experience on campus.
Oh, hey, that's you!